Radioactive Waste by
Sahana Alamanda,
Rikki, Pardue,
and Prisha Tyagi. But first, what is it? Radioactive waste is leftover radioactive material from nuclear-related energy plants. Nuclear power is clean energy. However, the process to get radioactive supplies is damaging the environment. It can cause harm to living organisms if not stored safely. This is because radioactive material could stay radioactive for several lifetimes. At the International Conference on Management of Spent Fuel from Nuclear Power Reactors, a conference part of the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, Director General Yukio Amano announced that he supports nations that already have nuclear power programs to partake in sharing their expertise with others on how to properly dispose of radioactive waste and additional radioactive waste supervision procedures with countries that are less qualified because of how significant it is. This convention had many people within the nuclear community, which comprised of many delegates of governmental organizations and policymakers and other organizations that focus a lot on radioactive waste. He said, I directly encourage countries with existing nuclear power programs and experience at the back end of the fuel cycle to share their experience with newcomer countries to ensure that the best practice is implemented everywhere. We're going to be going over the basics, causes, environmental effects, human effects, and solutions.
the basics. The basics of radioactive waste. The production of nuclear energy creates radioactive waste. Radioactive waste usually emits low-level radiation and isn't a major environmental problem. However, it affects places all over the world and is a present problem because of how hard it is to store safely. A lot of countries used to dump the material into the ocean. A couple parts of nuclear waste can be reused, chiefly the nuclear fuel post, which can be cooled and extracted of its plutonium and other outstandingly radioactive parts. Very low-level waste is radioactive substances that are not seen as unsafe to individuals or the climate. It is ordinarily additional material from older nuclear plants or objects has short-lived radioactivity. Low-level waste is commonly minimal, standard things that are used in workplaces with induction to radioactive machines or materials. They don't need securing and can be stored in shallow underground repositories. It amounts to about 90% of the radioactive mass and less than 1% of the total radioactivity. Intermediate level waste is from direct association with nuclear reactors and totals to 4% of the volume and 8% of the overall radioactivity. High-level waste is the fuel shafts for nuclear reactors. They can be reused and are submerged in water while they cool for about 5 years. They add up to 6% of the volume and 91% of the total radioactivity.
causes. There are many human activities that are the causes of this problem. Defense weapon production, nuclear waste handling and disposal, the nuclear accidents are some of the many causes. Defense weapon production is a cause because accidents occur when radioactive materials are handled. Nuclear disposal and handling is a reason since it can create low to medium radiation throughout a preceded time span. Nuclear accidents can release a lot of radioactive waste. One example is at a Soviet nuclear power plant in Chernobyl that occurred in 1986. Radioactive waste is a result of numerous nuclear technology organizations. Industries producing radioactive waste are nuclear medicine, nuclear research, nuclear power, manufacturing, and nuclear weapons reprocessing. Radioactive waste is additionally generated while breaking down and demolishing nuclear reactors plus additional nuclear facilities. There are two general groups, either high-level or low-level waste. The nuclear reactors in America result in more than 2,000 metric tons of radioactive waste annually, and almost all of it ends up remaining on site due to the fact that there aren't any secure places to store it. This is a problem that is mostly due to carelessness. It is due to the fact that radioactive waste is not handled completely, safely, and properly yet.
Environmental effects. Radioactive waste impacts organisms by causing their health to deteriorate. Radioactive waste releases lots of carbon dioxide and can be active for hundreds of thousands of years. Once radioactive material is in the soil, it will break down all of the nutrients and leave it toxic for living organisms. The reason why radioactive waste is so harmful to the environment is that when they begin to decay, they emit harmful radioactive particles such as beta or alpha particles, gamma rays, or murons into the surrounding area. Basically, when radioactive waste is exposed to the environment, it causes lots of organisms to become sick and can affect them for generations.
Human effects. Some major health effects include acute radiation syndrome, cancer, and central nervous system damage. Cancers that can be caused by radiation include leukemia, skin cancer, lymphoma, liver cancer, stomach cancer, esophageal cancer, colon cancer, ovarian cancer, lung cancer, breast cancer, bladder cancer, thyroid cancer, and multiple myeloma. But how does this happen? Cancer in particular is caused because radioactive waste has the ability to kill cells or cause mutations to DNA. If those mutations are not fixed, the cell may turn cancerous, causing people to have cancer. Thyroid cancer in particular is caused because radioactive iodine can be absorbed by the thyroid gland, which causes thyroid cancer, according to Dr. Lydia Zabalitska, an assistant professor at the University of California, San Francisco. Radioactive iodine doesn't hang around for too long and stays for only about 2 months after an accident, according to Andre Bouville of the National Cancer Institute. If you're exposed to air after that time, radioactive iodine is not dangerous, Bouville said. Children should be the most careful because they have the highest risk of getting thyroid cancer because their thyroid glands are 10 times smaller, which causes radioactive iodine to be more concentrated in them.
Solution. Currently, the best solution scientists have to the problem of storing radioactive material is deep geological repositories that will store the radioactive waste until it is no longer toxic. The storage of low-level waste is just large silos made of concrete at the nuclear plant due to space constrictions. The government is also starting a consent-based sitting process. It is a process where they ask the community around them if they could build a disposal facility in the area to store the waste there. A few countries, including Switzerland, Finland, and some other European nations, are planning on using geological repositories for storing their country's radioactive waste. In America, government officials propose storing their country's waste in a repository beneath the Yucca Mountain in Nevada. That site lies 300 meters below ground level and 300 meters above the water. But the Yucca Mountain site hasn't been completely decided on yet. Currently, the waste heaps mostly in the factory or power plant it's produced in. Some of it has been lying in storage for as long as prolonged as 80 years. Pro, prevents the radioactive waste from harming the environment. Con, still emits radiation. Storing the radioactive waste in geological repositories is the only solution currently available and is the only way to prevent the radioactive waste from harming the environment a lot. A few scientists say underground disposal also preserves the waste of human intervention, climate change, and natural disasters. Con, even if the radioactive waste is stored underground, it can emit low levels of radiation which could still cause harm to the environment over time.
The credits. Thank you.